Denise, this is Virginia. I think we're
Oh,
about there. I'm showing 63 folks on, so.
okay. Darcy, if you can start the recording, let's begin the meeting. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Campus Answer Hour for insurers, self-insurers, third-party administrators, and trading partners. My name is Denise Holmes, and I am a Compliance Services Officer, or CSO, in the Compliance Records and Training, or CRT, department here at the Minnesota Department of Labor and Industry. And we also have with us co-hosting today my CRT teammate, Senior CSO, Deb Dolsky. In addition, we also have several panelists joining us to help answer your questions and share their campus knowledge, including CRT Supervisor Mike Solheid, Management Analyst John Brothen, and campus subject matter experts Lisa Smith and Cheryl Sherbel. Thanks everyone for joining us. So just a reminder that this meeting today is being recorded so that it can be posted for your access to refer back to if needed. And later on, Deb Dolsky will also be sharing a link to the Campus Central webpage in her portion of this presentation as to where you can sign up for future answer hours once they're scheduled, find all the recorded training links and other helpful campus resource materials. I also want to point out that Senior CSO Virginia Prax is sharing some helpful campus links in the WebEx chat box throughout this meeting, such as contact information for the help desk and for the EDI team. So you may want to cut and paste those links for your future reference. Please also note that for audio purposes, all attendees are on mute. So if you have a question that arises during the meeting, please just type it in the chat box, and Virginia will be coordinating those chat box questions to ensure that all your inquiries are addressed. So you can see the agenda for today starts off with a summary of the most recent campus release updates. We will then confirm the main current campus known issues so that you're aware of what we continue to work on. Deb Dolsky will then address the content and format of future campus answer hour sessions, and she will also direct a demonstration of where to find information via the Campus Central webpage. And lastly, we will conclude by opening this forum to any questions you may have. Regarding the most recent campus releases, so there was an issue where some electronic data interchange or EDI senders discovered that EDI batches were returning both the acknowledgements or the AKC and the re-acknowledgements ARC. This has since been resolved, so campus should no longer be automatically generating copies of both those. So going forward, only AKCs should return from submitted EDI batches. Another issue was that claim administrators were unable to change the federal employer identification number, or the FEAN sent with the FROI to change EDI transactions. So that has been fixed, as the FROI O2 change transaction now updates the employer FEAN in campus as expected. Also, an issue was that external users were unable to log into campus because their external permissions were timing out. This issue has also been resolved, so external users are now able to log in for system access without those permissions timing out. In addition, there was an issue on the permanent partial disability, or PPD, form, as the required fields were not being indicated with an asterisk symbol. This has been repaired, so the appropriate required data fields on the PPD form now do display an asterisk as anticipated. So some of the current main known issues with campus include the ability to add fiends to some deactivated insurer entities, an inability to update the social security number field in the user interface, and some external users are getting a "you are not authorized to access this page" error message when trying to view a submission. So we want to confirm that we are aware of these issues and they are being worked on to be resolved as quickly as possible. We thank you for your calls into the campus help desk and EDI team to report these issues and offer your feedback. Please do continue to notify us of any issues like this that you are experiencing so that we are notified that a particular issue exists so that it can be addressed. So moving along to our next agenda topic, Deb, did you want to take the floor?
Yes, thanks, Denise. Good afternoon, everyone. We are at a point where we are evaluating the content of our future answer hour sessions. We would like your input as to the content of these sessions, which would best serve you. Which topics would you like to have further training on during these sessions, or continue as is? What preferred format would you like to have these topics presented in, such as actual live demonstration, a PowerPoint presentation, continue with the same format that has been occurring? We would like to have you document your ideas, preferred format in the chat box today. Virginia Prax will be tracking your input and ideas from the chat box throughout today's session for consideration for future topics. Next slide, please. Campus Central page. This is a friendly reminder. This is a site for campus resources that features news and updates about campus, including known issues that are currently being worked on or have been resolved. This may be a site that you would read before you log into campus each day to see if there's any news for the day, as you can log into campus from this site. Denise, you want to go to the Campus Central webpage, please?
Okay.
So here's the Campus Central webpage, and here you can also see to the right that you can log into campus directly from this site. So some of the resources that are listed in Campus Central, as you can see, it's the Work Comp Campus FAQs, the various Work Comp Campus quick reference guides, and then the next area here that was shown, a schedule change. There had to be a schedule change due to a rehab update answer hour that was noted in Campus Central. And then if you go down further, you can see that there are various entries noted for release notes. And it will give you an opportunity to review those release notes to catch up on what's going on. In addition, if you go down a little bit further, there's reminders that will be issued on Campus Central. This was a reminder about the November 2nd law change regarding first report of injuries that was sent out via email on February 5th. Denise, can you open up that message, please?
Sure.
So here is obviously the reminder regarding the change that went into effect on November 2nd. And they go into the description on that. And then at the very bottom of this newsletter or reminder, here's where I wanted to show you, if you haven't subscribed to any updates, this is where you can put in your email address and subscribe to updates that the department will be submitting to its stakeholders. So those are some of the resources listed on the Campus Central page. So Denise, if you want to go back to the PowerPoint presentation, we can address some of the issues or questions that are in the chat box.
Thanks, Deb. Next, let's open up the meeting to our audience for their questions. Please put your inquiries in the chat box. Virginia will monitor that to ensure that we do address your inquiries. And panelists, just a friendly reminder, please make sure you're unmuted now so that your responses can be heard. What do we have, Virginia?
Great. Thanks, Denise. Thanks, Deb. First one's from Wendy. Can you please provide instruction on how to file for TTD benefits? On how to file for TTD benefit stopping with TPD anticipated. I have filed an SX stating TPD expected, but it produces a form that has stopped all benefits, making me file an RB and another SX. Is there something needed as far as the dates that it's different? Is there something needed as far as the dates that are different?
Virginia, this is John. Can you hear me?
Yep, we can. Thanks, John.
Hey, I think I can help answer Wendy's question. It's a great question, very EDI heavy. So it's not necessarily wrong for anyone who knows to send an SX when TTD is changing to TPD and you don't yet have the wages to confirm to make that first payment. However, what most people want to do, and the right thing for EDI, is to do a CB, or a change in benefits, going directly from temp total to temp partial. If you don't have the wages yet, you can submit a PD with the anticipated wage loss indicator, DN201, set to yes, and that acts as a placeholder until you can submit the CB to get those benefits switched over to temp partial.
Okay, thanks, John. I have one. I don't know if it's kind of related, but I'm going to skip over a question and I'll come back to it, but on kind of on that same vein, a question from Megan. We have several legacy claims that previous benefits were paid but are not ongoing at this time. Do we need to file FROI, SHROI, URs if we are not actively paying TTD, TPD benefits?
Yeah, another great question. Technically, you don't have to report those URs, and really all the UR does is you're reporting everything that you're kind of catching up legacy to campus. And so you don't have to do your URs until essentially you have to do something else on campus. If you're not currently paying benefits and there's, say, an active dispute or rehab or something, you may want to send in your URs to try and get the claim opened up fully and get engaged with campus. But otherwise, if it's kind of a closed claim, like there is an ongoing indemnity and there's no other activity happening, then you don't have to send the URs at this time.
Okay, thanks. I'm not sure if anybody's on the call that can address this one, but one from Becky. If we've sent questions to the EDI email address and the help desk email address with no response, who do we escalate the issues to? She says, I have questions from the end of January that have not been addressed to date. I resent them a week or two ago.
I can chime in from the EDI side for you, Becky. You can always resend again. We have discovered through some trial and error that sometimes our spam filters are extremely strong on the state side, so some emails have fallen through the cracks. If you have a direct contact like myself or someone, you can always email us directly. So don't be shy about sending another email if you're not getting your questions answered, not getting responded to. Our return times now should be much better. So if it's been more than a week or a few days, certainly send another email and let us know. We should be getting back to you.
And the question is, and the portion regarding the regular help desk emails, I'll reach out to the person heading the help desk and see if we can get kind of an update or anticipated turnaround time that we can share with everybody for that one.
Yeah,
I know obviously things would be different based on what the nature of the inquiry is.
yeah. So as far as the help desk goes, their response time has been getting shorter and shorter. So they're about 2 days out most of the time. But again, it really depends on what the topic is and what the issue is. The help desk tries to answer as much as they can up front, but if it goes and there needs to be a ticket, it goes to one of our subject matter experts, and it could take a little bit to get an answer then.
Thank you, Mike, for sharing that with us. Mike is a supervisor of the campus help desk.
Okay, we've got another question in the chat box, or quite a few questions, which is great. We certainly appreciate them. One from Kristen. Can we not file 2 RBs and 2 SXs in the same batch?
So I'll try and answer that. If it's 2 RBs and 2 SXs for the same claim, that, well, technically maybe that should be allowed. I don't see that passing edits very easily. If you're just saying 2 random RBs and 2 random SXs, then yes, that definitely should go through. But if you're trying to suspend, reinstate again on the same claim in the same batch, I would highly suggest trying to break those out into 2 different batches for the transactions.
Thanks, John. Another question from Kristen. We have gotten notices that we have documents to view. When we click on it, we can view the first pages, but any additional documents attached to the file gives a warning that we are not authorized to view the docs.
This is Lisa. I think this is one that we might need to take back and either contact the help desk directly to have this question answered on a specific, if you have a specific one to look at.
Thanks, Lisa. This was actually one of the items that we mentioned on slide number 4, campus known issues. It's one that they are aware of, and they are working on trying to resolve that for you. So we do appreciate your patience there.
Sounds good. One from Julie. Can you please let me know where we file the reports of benefits paid data call, excuse me.
We might need to get more from Julie if is she perhaps talking about assessments. Do we have a fun person with us today?
I'm here. Sorry. This is Sue. This is for the Special Compensation Fund. We do a report of benefits paid, and then that establishes the assessment that is paid later in the year. I have a login to Campus, but I cannot find where to file this report.
So it sounds like maybe that's something we can circle back on and put in the Q&A.
I think the insurer, if you're with the insurance company, you have to have the permission that's designated to file those assessments, and that would be on the insurer entity. The group administrator on the entity can give that access out to whoever needs to submit that information. But
Well,
there again,
I'll just tell you that what I found out was we had no group administrator. And I talked to somebody last week. I'm sorry, I can't remember who it was. And she elevated my logon to a group administrator. I still can't find it. I'm sorry. I'm just totally lost.
I would reach out to the help desk
Okay.
to have someone help you directly with that one. Okay.
Yep. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Another question. When there's a change in the average weekly wage, AWW, after benefits have been stopped, what forms do we file to tell you this? Would it simply be a change form, or is something else needed?
Okay, I'll try and answer that again. So it depends. So if you're changing average weekly wage, you could submit just an O2, but that should really only work if what you're changing does not affect the amount of benefits paid. If the amount of benefits paid changes, like if let's say you had just paid a bunch of weeks of temp total and the total amount paid is going, say, up or down, then you could, I believe our edits allow you to send a CA, which would then change perhaps the gross, the net, and the total amount paid of benefits for the period that's already been suspended. Or I think we even prefer if you can report a PY showing if it was an underpayment, let's say, and now you're paying additional temp total because what was paid before was essentially underreported because you thought there was less average wage than there really was. So it sort of depends. There's a number of different ways of doing it, and it comes down to the facts of that claim.
Okay, thanks, John. One from Amber. What determines when the file is closed in Campus? Is it when we send a file? Is there a way to reopen files that Campus has closed? If a file was closed and we file an FN, but then it reopens to say pay a bill, then closes again, does Minnesota require another FN filing?
Amber, I can take that one. This is Denise. Basically, the status of open or closed in Campus has to do with our compliance, regulation, and training, our department's auditing status. So we may have a claim that we are done reviewing for indemnity benefits such as wage loss and permanent disability. But we know that it might be open on your end for some ongoing medicals. However, if the indemnity is done being audited and there's no active litigation and rehabilitation is closed, then we will close the file on our end. It's not active for auditing purposes on our end. It's important that you file the FNs when those things occur, when when you're done paying your partial disability, your minimum ascertainable, or if it was rated, and then there's no active litigation, there's no ongoing wage loss occurring. You file the FN even if it's open just for intermittent medical bills that you may receive on lifetime medicals. If I am aware that there is, and I believe it's still ongoing, a glitch where when our auditing status in Campus said that the file was closed on our end, however, you may have it active and open on your end. And if you want to submit forms, I believe there was a glitch that wasn't allowing that. We are aware of that. And I think the temporary workaround was that the claims adjusters were to send an email to the help desk and title the email reopen request listing I think the WID and the claim number. Is that correct, Mike? Mike Solheid?
Sorry, I wasn't exactly paying attention.
Sure.
Could you repeat that?
Sure.
Question?
Say, Mike, if they have a request to reopen a claim that we're showing in our system is closed, and apparently there's currently a glitch where they can't submit a filing to update us on the status if something has changed because our status is marked closed, is the procedure for how they would ask or request that file to be reopened so that they can submit what they need to is to send an email to the help desk and label the subject reopen request?
Yep, and just include either the WID and the date of injury or the JCN.
Okay. And so Amber, just to come full circle, so if we have a file that is closed for auditing purposes, no ongoing indemnity or litigation or rehab, and let's say you've already filed an RN, but maybe the file, and let's say you thought it was inactive, but they went for an annual checkup a year later and a medical bill comes into you to pay, you don't need to file another FN. We would have no idea that you've reopened it just to pay a medical bill. So your status of your file being active or closed isn't linked with our auditing status on the file. So no, you wouldn't file another FN if you've just paid an intermittent medical bill. I hope that answers your questions, Amber.
Thanks, everyone. Another question from Angela. Is there a place to look up the JCN when it's missing on a takeover claim rather than emailing EDI support?
I can jump in. The answer is no. Unfortunately, there isn't.
Okay.
Should anyone should have a large JCN request, more than just one, I mean, please let us know. Um, I guess either way, you're going to probably send it to EDI support to request the JCN or the help desk. But if you have more than one, we have ways of trying to get you the batch of JCNs that you might need, especially if it's a takeover situation. You have a lot of claims. Let's try and get those all done in one batch, and then you can get all those JCNs you need.
Okay, thanks, John. And obviously what's behind it could be taken down as a future system enhancement so that they would be able to eventually maybe look that up, or at least that's something we can take down. That kind of the same would relate to the next question from Tammy, or the comment rather, need to be able to see the employer in filter options when searching, while doing searches. Does anybody know if that's an option anywhere or a way to get that, to be able to filter by employer?
This is Cheryl. We're actually looking at the feedback from insurers about what they would like to see, and I have written that down and will report that back.
Great, thanks, Cheryl. One from Megan. We would benefit from training on filing a PY for lump sum stipulations that is not based off a rating. How to break down the payments in the filing. So we could record the attorney payments, heat and RORAFs, etc. I would like to see this live as well as, or excuse me, I would like to see this live as well as have a PowerPoint.
Great, we'll take that down. We appreciate the idea, Megan. Thank you.
One from Elizabeth. Is there a requirement to upload a state business page to the submit insured report? I cannot find a place to upload it.
This is Lisa. I think this has to do with assessments, I believe. And that, so I don't think anyone on the call is on from special fund. So I think we might need to take that, either send this question to the help desk, or we can look into it and get back to you.
Great, thanks, Lisa. One from Wendy. When we click on the confirmation number for emails we receive, we cannot get the document to come up in Campus.
This is Cheryl. We are seeing that this is a problem. Wendy, if you can send it to the help desk, the document, the confirmation number and everything on your email, we can take a look at it. It should get routed to me.
Thanks, Cheryl. One from Tara, excuse me. How do you add an existing WID to a new claim so it links with other related claims, such as in the case of asbestos claims? Okay.
I'm not, I guess maybe we might need a little more information on that, because the WID exists. I guess I'm not sure. Are you saying how do you link the claims together, or I'm not understanding exactly what the question is.
If this is the same context, down at the bottom of our questions, she's indicating I'm unable to add the WID when I create the new file. Who would we contact for all those JCNs since we have all legacy claims? I'm not sure if that one's related either.
So if you're creating a new file, if you're submitting a new first report, and you are unable or you don't know the WID, you can contact the help desk. And I'm still not sure if that's, it should link when you have that information, when you submit the first report, if you have the WID. Okay, so you'll probably want to send this to the EDI help desk to see if they can look into it for you.
Okay, thank you. Kristen, I like the idea of walking through our questions live, but it seems that it would be tough for trading partners. I still like answering our questions format.
Thank you. We'll take that back.
From Diane, is there a way to search for claims using the claimant's name rather than a WID or a JCN?
This is Lisa. You should be able to search by the claimant's name. It depends, I think, where you're looking for the claim, if it's on your dashboard or under the related claims and cases. But if you have questions regarding that, we can try to help you if you want to send something to the help desk.
One from Vicky, any update on reinstatement of penalties?
I can address that. Basically, we remain in a holding pattern. There's been no change in our position on that. So it's the same as has been outlined in the prior .gov delivery notifications. And when our stance changes on that, we will be sure to notify everyone.
Thanks. And one from Amber, when we started campus, we were to get the forms emailed. Is this still being looked at? We are not receiving emails yet. I can only view via FTP. Okay, I guess we'll take that one down too. See who we can get to help us out to respond in the written format. One from Diane, any updates on reimbursements?
And I think we don't have anyone on from the fund
Yeah,
today,
yeah,
so
but
we'll take that back to them.
Thank you. One from Sue. How do I access the report of benefits paid that needs to be submitted by April 1st? Is that again another?
It sounds like that has to do with the
assessment?
special comp fund assessment as well.
Okay.
So we'll be sure to share that with them and they'll get back with you.
Yeah.
Sue, thank you.
So obviously we were scheduled for half an hour today, correct, Denise?
We are, but myself and the panelists can remain on for anybody else that's interested in continuing through this list of questions. Feel free to stay on. If you have to leave us, thank you for your time.
Yep, absolutely. Thank you. Just wanted to acknowledge that we were on the time, but we're happy to stay on and see what how we can help here. So one from Ashley, if a FROI is mistakenly triggered on a medical only claim, is there a way to remove or close it from campus?
I don't believe so.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Mike.
We don't remove claims from campus, but if it's a med only, it just sits there, so you don't have to worry about it.
It would be important that the FROI lists a return to work date, or that if it lists a first date of lost time date, we'd need to see on there a date of return to work. Otherwise, that will trigger us to audit it and request updates on status of wage loss. So if it's a med only and there was not lost time beyond the waiting period, but you accidentally triggered it, hopefully you put a return to work date, and then it wouldn't raise questions on our end in regards to indemnity.
Okay. And there's some comments in here. I think they're more so comments directed at what we'd like to see go on in the future. So I'm going to kind of skip over some of those and try to get back to more so just questions. One looks like for John from Angela regarding the TTD to TPD question. The event table states a suspension is due within 14 days. Is it okay to file the CB rather than a suspension, even if it's after 14 days, or would that be considered late?
Yeah, that's where we were talking earlier that we do have the option. You can send a PD as like a placeholder if that CB is taking too long to report. As people probably know, the CB is supposed to generate like a NOID form, so it's acting kind of like a NOID from the old days. So you have the option of sending a PD with the anticipated wage loss indicator sent to yes, which just means that you haven't received the wage statements yet, and that's why it's taking longer for the CB. But if it's around that 14 days and that's when you send the CB, you should be fine.
Thanks, everyone. My audio is breaking up, so I'm hoping I'm coming across okay. Another question from Amber. What do we do if we file an IP situation, or can we just file the PY after the P? But we have to file an active flex first before we file the PY.
Yeah, again, Amber, that's probably fact specific to what exactly is happening to the benefits in your claim or what should be happening to the benefits, but you probably do have to do an SX first and then do the PY to try and reconcile what your total benefits are going to end up being paid for that claim. You'll have to reach out to us on the EDI team specifically for the exact facts of that, but you'll probably have to suspend benefits so that it's clear what's happening and then do a PY to reconcile the benefits after that.
Thanks, John. One from Linda regarding data element 0206, unique number assigned. What are these numbers and where can we find them? This data field appears in our rejected acknowledge message.
Yeah, Linda, so 0206 is in EDI is called the Employee Security ID, and that is the WID number. So if you're receiving a rejection for a transaction based upon that, then something that is not matching of the core data in the transaction. So you can reach out to the EDI team to get our help to resolve whatever that issue might be.
Thanks. All of our claims are legacy claims. Would notifications come through campus even if we have not brought the claim forward yet?
This is Lisa. I believe you should still get notifications if there are group administrators or group users on the entity. The notifications should still go, get to sent out. So sometimes if you're going to respond or try to get into the claim, you might need to do the FROI and SHROI UR to be able to do so.
Thanks, Lisa. I've been told to file a PY for a PPD rating that will be paid out weekly. Would this not be either a CB or RB, depending on if there is a date range gap?
Yeah, Wendy, you're right. It should probably be a CB or an RB if you're paying on a weekly basis. It's not really a PY. That's not the best thing to report. So yeah, a CB or an RB if you're paying PPD on a weekly basis. Or even maybe an IP.
Okay, and then lastly here we have one from Angela for takeover claims that were never reported to campus. Would you please go over the correct sequencing? Is it AQ, then FROI UR, then SHROI UR?
No, so if you are taking over claims that you know were never reported, well, let's just say if you're taking over claims from another claim administrator, you would send the AQ, and for that you need the WID and the JCN number. So if you don't have those, reach out to us. If by chance the AQ, if you have all those numbers and you have AQs that reject, then you can try the AU transaction. And what that means is that you've sent the AQ, we don't actually have the claim under that WID and JCN. And so then you're sending the AU, which is telling us that you're taking over a claim that was never actually reported to our legacy system or to campus. URs and Freud and Shroy URs are only for legacy claims that you have already reported or were under you as a claim administrator in our old system.
Great, thanks, John. So Denise and Deb, that's all I'm seeing in the chat.
Okay, so Virginia, if you can be sure to compile a list of all of the ideas for future content and share that with us. We'll review that. And Deborah, panelists, anyone have any closing remarks to add? Okay, doesn't sound like it. So we will conclude this meeting. Thanks to everyone for taking the time to join us today. We apologize it went a little bit over, but we wanted to be sure to address your questions. So have a great day.
Thanks, everyone.